Hi, welcome to video 3 in the sequence about 15mm buildings and small stuff. As you can see, I have taken this building a lot further. I finished dry brushing the walls, dry brushed the roof, and I've added the little window frame white dot details just pulls them out a little bit. And as you can see, I've done the windowsills as well, just to give it that ironstone look. Now, this you could say is table ready, game ready, model ready, but you may want to take it a little bit further. Now, I use a number of techniques just to give it a little bit of a zing, shading and texture. First off, you may have seen these before. These are brush pens. Now they're water based, which means that they don't dry in such a way that you can't remove them afterwards, which is a good useful tip. So I'm going to work in a bit more, give it a little bit of shadow and shade. So you can see it's not a heavy colour. Put a bit under the windowsills. Pretty rough, isn't it? I'm going to go round, maybe put a bit of shadow there. Windowsills there. You can see how varied this ink pens are. Bit there, bit of detail. Now they're water based, which means they're like watercolour. I am not worried that they're drying and I can't merge that in. I mean, because this does look a mess. Just around there, you can see I'm putting shadows in all the little areas where it's more gathering dirt areas than it is shadows. It's the bit where the rain doesn't wash it off. There we go. Okay, under the roofs, a bit on that side. Now, as I say, they're water based. I'm going to get a brush. Now, I'm picking up some water. I'm using my back of my hand as a water reservoir. Use a bit of tissue, it's a bit damp because I've been doing other stuff with it too, washing brushes, a bit more. So take off the excess, and then all I'm going to do, make sure that I'm centered up with a, just feather that in. And some of you may have seen some of the other Sarissa videos where I've been using water-based pens like this. It works just as well on doing planking as it does on stonework, and that's why the water reservoir, just to get, because the brush does go dry after a while. Not too much, just enough to feather it in. You see, you're just starting to get a bit of a shadow. Now, you could even drag the brush down to get damp runs of water where it's rained off and washed away soots or anything. Just gives it a different feel. Under the windowsills, yeah, bit under the roof there. See, I didn't do that. You can go back if you've taken too much off or you didn't put enough on, put a little bit more on as you go. Didn't do it on that side either. The pleasure of the water pens does allow you to catch up on yourself. They dry very quickly. Back to the reservoir. Bit more water on the hand. Edging around the doors. There you go. So you get a feel as it starts to shade in. There you go, a bit more. You can imagine if it's in an area of a town or an ironworks or anything that emits smoke and soot, you can get some great effects with these pens. There we go. You don't want too much water on the brush. You want enough to make it damp, thin it out and feather it. Okay, on the sides there. And all I'm doing, really, to some extent, is accentuating the bits where I didn't dry brush into the slots. Takes a little while, but very effective. Just producing that little bit of weathering. There you go. Fairly swift, fairly quick, but it gives you just a little bit more depth to the final kit. Okay, so next up though, I'll maybe pick out some of those rocks. Now I'm going to turn it to face me a bit, using different colour crayons. Pick out the stone. You can see I'm not doing it very precise, and it's just a little bit rough, but it's just like stone. Working around, picking up each one. Now I'm only picking out these stones on this model. You can literally go back, another paint, pencil, there we go. But nothing's stopping you from picking out edges. And quite drag a white pencil across those edges. Just gives that highlight a zing. You can, if you use a different one, you can draw on ones that you've drawn before, just different highlights and edges. You can see how the white, when used really harsh, will produce a stone mark to it. The mason's chipping away. If you mix the pencils together, fairly quick, fairly simple, but it just adds a little bit more depth. Also a little bit more personal. Okay. Again, pick out, don't pick every single one, just a couple. Bit of an edge. If you wanted to, you could even work in on the surface a more rough, uneven set of markings. Keep swapping pencils, that way you get a different look to it. You can even add to those shadows. You're getting a feel for the kit. There you go. So I grab a set of figures, put them up next to it. What do you reckon? Works? A little bit of life. Now there are other ways of working with stone, and that will come up in another separate video with another building later, and pop in, see what that's about, and there'll be some photographs of this with the roofs finished and shaded in as well. Thank you and take care. Bye.